I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sex.
Big news has emerged from the MotoGP world ahead of the highly anticipated Brazilian Grand Prix. The spotlight has been on a name that has been a constant topic of discussion throughout the season: Toprak Razgatlioglu. The Turkish rider finally had his long-awaited moment, testing the latest V4 engine with Pirelli tires in a private test session at the Circuito de Jerez in 2026. Since the start of the season, there has been much speculation about the performance of Toprak's bike. Some observers have suggested that the transition to a V4 engine configuration is a major step that could revolutionize the competitive landscape. However, until now, there has been no real opportunity for Toprak to truly explore the full potential of the new package. Therefore, the private test session at Jerez is crucial, not only for the team, but also for Toprak's future performance for the remainder of the season. The morning at Jerez began relatively quietly. Only a few key crew members were in the pit lane, while the latest bike configuration was ready in the garage. The technicians were busy making final checks on the V4 engine, which has been touted as having a significantly different character than the previous bike. The main focus of the test was not only on engine power, but also on how the Pirelli tires adapted to the engine's power delivery characteristics. When Toprak first emerged from the pit lane, all eyes were immediately drawn to the telemetry data streaming onto the team's monitors. Lap after lap was recorded. Initially, it seemed like a normal test session, but after a few laps, the engineers began to express a different sentiment. The corner exit speed figures, displayed on the screens, were higher than expected. The V4 engine appeared to provide much more aggressive acceleration in the second sector of the Jerez circuit. Toprak appeared to be able to open the throttle more quickly out of tight corners. This had previously been a major weakness in recent races. However, with the combination of the new engine and Pirelli tires, the bike appeared more stable as it transferred power to the asphalt. A surprising turn occurred when Toprak recorded a lap time that nearly matched his pole position from the previous race at the same circuit. This was certainly not official race conditions, but for the team, the figures were enough to surprise them. Even some analysts present at the scene noted that the improvement far exceeded initial expectations. Even more interesting was Toprak's handling of the bike. Many riders take a long time to adapt to the characteristics of a V4 engine. However, in this test, Toprak seemed to find his rhythm very quickly. His trademark aggressive riding style actually seemed to suit the new engine's characteristics better. And here's the complete news. Big news has once again rocked the MotoGP paddock ahead of the highly anticipated Brazilian Grand Prix. The spotlight has focused on one rider who has consistently been the center of attention this season: Toprak Razgatlioglu. The Turkish rider finally experienced a long-awaited milestone, testing the latest V4 engine with Pirelli tires in a private test at the Circuito de Jerez in 2026. This test was no ordinary test. Many in the paddock were calling it a major turning point for the bike's development project, which had been the subject of much speculation throughout the season. Since the beginning of the year, rumors of major changes to the team's engine have been rife. Many analysts believe the V4 engine configuration is key to improving the bike's performance, particularly in terms of acceleration and corner exit stability. However, until the last few races, Toprak hasn't had the opportunity to truly explore the full potential of the new package. That's why the private test at Jerez is so important. This is the first time the V4 engine and Pirelli tire combination has been seriously tested under conditions close to a race simulation. The morning at Jerez began relatively calmly. Sunny weather and ideal track temperatures provided perfect conditions for testing. Only the core team was in the pit lane, and all attention was focused on the bike being prepared in the garage. The technicians were busy checking every detail before Toprak took to the track. When the pit lane lights finally turned green, Toprak slowly left the garage. The sound of the V4 engine was immediately different from the previous configuration. The deeper, more aggressive tone immediately caught the attention of the observers present at the circuit. The first lap was used to understand the bike's character. Toprak didn't immediately push the bike to its full potential. He did a few warm-up laps to get a feel for how the new engine's power distribution worked with the Pirelli tires. The technicians on the pit wall continued to monitor the telemetry data coming in real time. After the first few laps, the pace began to increase. Toprak began pushing the bike harder, especially in the second and third sectors of the Jerez circuit, which are known for their technical and fast corners. This is where the first surprises began to emerge. The data showed that corner exit speed had increased significantly compared to the previous configuration. The V4 engine delivered more explosive power, but what was most surprising was how it remained under control. Typically, an engine with an aggressive character can easily cause the rear tire to lose traction, but in this test, the Pirelli tires seemed to maintain grip remarkably well. Toprak even appeared to be able to open the throttle more quickly when exiting tight corners. This was an area that had previously been a weakness for the bike. With this new package, acceleration felt much smoother and more stable. Analysts monitoring the data began to notice something unusual. Toprak's lap times began to approach those typically only seen during official qualifying sessions. In fact, in several time attack attempts, his times nearly matched the pole position he had set at Jerez. This certainly surprised many. Considering this was only a private test session without the pressure of racing, the results demonstrated the immense potential of the new V4 engine package. But it wasn't just the speed that surprised the team. Toprak's handling of the bike was also a major concern. Many riders need a long time to adapt to the characteristics of a V4 engine. But in this session, Toprak seemed to find his rhythm very quickly. His trademark aggressive riding style seemed even more suited to the new bike. He was able to brake deeply before corners, then immediately and confidently open the throttle upon exiting the apex. Furthermore, the performance of the Pirelli tires was also a crucial factor in the success of this test. Consistent grip allowed Toprak to maintain high speeds without worrying about losing control in fast corners. The team's technicians also made several setup changes during the session. The suspension, engine mapping, and weight distribution were continuously adjusted to find the best configuration. Toprak tested each change directly on the track. Towards the end of the day, the team decided to conduct a long-run simulation that approximated actual race conditions. In this simulation, Toprak ran a series of long laps to assess how the bike and tires performed over a longer period. Once again, the results were quite surprising. Tire degradation appeared very stable. Lap times did not decrease drastically despite the number of laps.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body.